Welcome into the Beat Sessions, the place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about Black Pumas and this new record, Chronicles of a Diamond. They released that on October 27th. This is the second studio album for the duo of Eric Burton and Adrian Casada, and the follow-up to their epic 2019 self-titled debut. You may have heard a song or two off of that, or maybe the entire thing. If you haven't, though, it's certainly worth a listen. I love this collaboration, what these guys are bringing to the table stylistically. And I think first and foremost, it's important to note that, especially like I've noticed as I've gotten older, you experience life and people, and sometimes you put up barriers. And I feel like, more so than when you're younger, you're like more inclined to like meet people and just put yourself out there. And this is a perfect example of, always shake that hand, always give people that opportunity, because you never know when you're going to meet that individual that blows your mind and you end up with the, most magnetic collaboration that's probably hit the music world in the last decade. These two guys together are just phenomenal. The energy as far as Eric's voice, outstanding. And Adrian, a guy with a lot of experience, a guy that could have easily just dismissed Eric, but gave him a chance. And in giving him that chance was like, holy crap, like who is this guy? And so these two gentlemen, along with some other amazing musicians, I got to give a shout out to Jerron Marshall on the keys, and the two backing vocalists that are working with these guys, Lauren Cervantes and Angela Miller, are just, Eric's voice is amazing, but the boost that those two women give him with the harmonies and all of their music is just spectacular, really working nicely on this record. Just a sound of funk, soul, there's psychedelic R&B, a little bit of hip hop at work, rock and roll. There's so much going on in their sound. All these things that, they feel familiar. It's almost like you can recognize an influence or recognize something, but this is an outfit that really is taking everything that's come before them, really standing up straight and proper on the shoulders of the giants that came before them and creating a sound all their own that's so unique. And in doing so, carving out that place for other people to move forward and to, who knows what with music 10, 20, 30 years down the road. So fresh, so inspiring. You think of a song like Colors off that self-titled debut. I've talked about it on the channel before. A lot of success in life is timing. And I love the way that these guys talk about how, we knew that we made a good record, but, the point that they make is that you just never know how the world is going to respond. And especially certain things happen in the world. That self-titled record came out it was like June 2019. And then 6 months later, we were all in the shit. We all know what happened. And so that song Colors, especially in a time when there was so much division, just a beautiful composition about unity. And it was at the right place at the right time. And I'm happy for these guys. I think that, there's a ton of bands out there that have immense talent, but these guys, their talent is immense. And while right place, right time, I will argue that a little bit, there's something that's really special about that dynamic, the energy between these two that I think separates them from a lot of other acts out there. The fact that they're not just an R&B act, they're not just a rock and roll act, they're not just soul or funk. They're all of these things coming together in a way that, most bands, most musicians, most artists, especially just, I feel like there's very few acts out there that are able to incorporate the variety of sounds that these two bring together. Really a big fan of this outfit. Very excited to talk about this record. More Than a Love Song is your opening track. I love the percussion to open. You get this gentle acoustic guitar. It's got this flamenco style. The percussion's got a little bit of a world feel to it. And that's what I'm talking about. It's just right out the gate, you're getting all these different influences that, you don't know where the composition is going to go. You're not really sure where the rest of this record is going to go, but you're excited about it. you get soulful R&B that's incorporated into that world element as this song builds. I really love Eric's vocal range on this particular song. I mean, I think it's certainly a highlight of the record. He's very talented, and I think coming out the gate with something that is impressive on his end is a good way to open up this record. Love the soulful breakdown, recitative vocal. It's something that he plays with a bit on this record. Just ranges us all over the place, from falsettos to recitative elements. It's really cool. The way that these compositions navigate a lot of different territory. Love the gospel harmonies that are at play from the ladies on this thing. There's a moment where, the in the breakdown, like the tambourine hits and it starts to build back, and I love that moment of that song more than a love song. Your second track, Ice Cream Payphone, is solid drums and a little guitar opening this thing up. The guitar's built in. I love the falsetto vocal from Eric on this track. Funky little garage rock feel on this thing. And I'm really loving the simple bounce in the bass. Really fun track there. Your third song, Mrs. Postman, it got this simple piano and these finger snaps that open. And I love the way that the bass trickles in. And then that bass goes to work brilliantly along with the piano. And Jerron on this thing, man, he's so good on the piano, just brilliantly playing back and forth with that piano. But this thing, it's a contemporary R&B track, but I mean, it's soulful, it's funky, it's jazzy. There's so much warmth and texture in this track. It just gives me chills even thinking about how good that song is. One of my favorite. Your title track, Chronicles of a Diamond. Your fourth song, light piano and vocal to open. Rhythm works in after a turn, and it's going to maintain this kind of like heavy sludgy feel. I like the thick bass, the really chill drums on this song. Those elements are contrasted with bright guitar play. There's other instrumentation that provides lighter elements to the song, but it's definitely just got a slower tempo, and it's a great moment the way that it leads into Angel, your fifth track. You get this arpeggiated acoustic riff to open. It's very pretty. It transitions into a couple chords, and then it's going to shift back to that arpeggiated riff with the vocal. The guitars build back in, but they drop in. They drop, and then you get these like finger snaps, a little bit of organ. This is a really cool song. The way that it builds and works, the back end of it becomes very Beatlesque. There's a nice psychedelic element to the record. It's a really lovely track. Great way to close out your A side. Hello, your sixth song, B side opener. Proggy guitars and synth to open on this thing. Get these electronic drums, kind of a different element there. With a slower tempo, this is a track it's going to strike you as a little different. It's a nice way to lead off the B side. Simple walking bass. I love the swirling synths that come into play at this thing, and I really love when the drums hit finally on this track. There's a nice moment there. Sauvignon is your seventh song, picks up the tempo off that B-side opener. Breakbeat percussion here, a little bit of Latin flair. I really love when they're working in that Latin style of just guitar, whether it's the world percussion that they're using. Just any time that they're dabbling in that, they're freaking killing it, in my opinion. Feel on the guitars in this song is excellent. Get a little bit of desert rock that's driving the influence of that song. Your eighth track, Tomorrow. Simple, mellow drums, organ, and some delay in the guitar makes for just this really pretty atmosphere. Minimal though. You get simple rhythm, chill psychedelic feel to it. The guitar and the vocal performance on this thing especially is really money. Really like Eric's vocals on that track. Gemini Sun, your ninth song and penultimate song, is my favorite track. This song is so dope. Love the haunting opening. You get this just big fuzzy instrumentation, like light psychedelic organ. This thing is it's haunting, spooky. That's the word for it. And it hits and it becomes even more spooky. There's some lighter moments in the track, but for the most part, it just takes on this very haunting character, and it's just absolute fire. I love this track, the energy that it brings. Great penultimate moment leading into Rock and Roll, which this song is amazing too. This feels like Black Pumas doing the Velvet Underground. You get this twinkly piano that builds in volume. It ushers in this mellow acoustic guitar. The piano is going to rejoin. And then it's just like, it does so in a bouncy fashion. And the rhythm, the bass, and the drums, they come along and with a similar feel. You get this recitative vocal that, I mean, I really cannot help but feel like Eric is channeling Lou Reed when he's dropping those lines. But I love the way this song swells big in the coda. It's fun and experimental and psychedelic, and I think is a really fun example of the unlimited potential that this band has. They have their style, they have their sound. And given that there's so much going on with that, there's always going to be so much going on with the Black Pumas record. I've seen people go back and forth, like this one's better, the self-titled debut is better. What I love is that these guys know how to make records. And I think this is an outfit that as they continue to put out records, you know, if you're a fan, it's going to be one of those bands where you just, it depends on your mood. You're like on any given day at any given time, any one of their records could be your favorite. And it's just, it's great to have them back. I know that they faced a lot of pressure. I mean, not necessarily like from themselves, but there's always that talk of the sophomore slump. And, you know, when your debut album gets as many Grammy nominations and it has as much visibility and as much success, time and place, those things that I'm talking about, you know, you can't really control the way that the world is going to respond. And when they blow up, you know, the expectations are a little higher. These guys handled this thing remarkably well. They delivered a record that really highlights why they're such a skilled such a skilled duo, but also shows that again, there's a lot of potential for growth between these two guys, and very excited for this collaboration to continue. We're gonna vinyl please this thing. I miss you guys. I promise the Tiki Bar is gonna be open soon. Construction on the house will be done, and we will be back with an even bigger team to give you guys as much coverage as we possibly can on the beat sessions. Stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. Like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help us keep blowing this project up, and we will see you next time.